There's no place in the world
like Rodeo Drive.
I'm Pari Ehsan, your host.
And I'm your field correspondent, Jason E.C. Wright.
Welcome to Rodeo Drive, the podcast.
When it comes to interests, chances are, if you love fashion, you probably also love cars.
So I think for me, that's the message that is portrayed on my social media. Yeah, I race and yeah, I enjoy that, but I also can have a full face of makeup and do my hair and look glamorous because that's what I like to do too. You know, it doesn't have to be one or the other.
That is the IndyCar racing driver and social media influencer, Lindsay Brewer. She dishes with me on beating the boys on the track, staying glam while doing so, and her new clothing line. That's coming up.
And the reason we're focusing on cars is because it's June. And every June on Father's Day, people in their finest cars turn out for the Rodeo Drive Concours d'Elegance. Here is the founder.
My name is Bruce Meyer, and I'm the proud organizer, chairman, last man standing of a group that was established in 1993 to restore the famous Beverly Hills fire truck, Aaron's Fox fire truck. And a group of us got together and decided we were going to do a car show to benefit the restoration of this famous fire truck, which will be leading the parade this year on Rodeo Drive. So this year is going to be, without a doubt, our best show ever.
Since it's always a blast, it's hard to know how they'll top themselves this year.
We will lead the parade with Rolls-Royce cars, which is our sponsor this year. And we will have an extraordinary display of Rolls-Royces, supercars, antique cars, and fun-loving and car-loving people. So it's an amazing day in store, June 19th. Line the streets of Beverly Drive. Come enjoy the car show on Rodeo Drive and enjoy the entire Beverly Hills experience. And we'll see you there! Exclamation point.
Well, thank you, Bruce. That sounds very fun. Right, Jason?
It certainly does. And this goes on all day from 9:30 a.m. And thousands of people show up and line the streets of Beverly Hills, especially Beverly Drive, to view the parade and then check out the cars when they park on Rodeo Drive. The people spotting is quite amazing as well.
And I think you got to meet one of the key people connected to Concours.
That's right, Perry. I got to meet up with Scot Prescott. Now, Scott runs a business called Auto Vault, which is basically a storage and restoration service for some of the finest cars in the world. And in a true James Bond style, is buried 3 stories underground, right underneath Rodeo Drive.
We are located in the bowels of Beverly Hills, right in the center of downtown Beverly Hills. We have been here for over 40 years, collecting and storing and taking care of our clients' automobiles.
And there beneath the street, we find the classiest garage with padded walls, filled with gorgeous cars hidden under their covers. Scott toured me around and told me how Auto Vault came into being. It all started when he was a kid with a dream.
From the beginning, when I was a kid, I'd always been obsessed with cars, fascinated by cars. I grew up in the woods, literally, of New Hampshire, and I would read all the magazines and periodicals that you'd find for automobiles. I actually built the little plastic Revell models that we built at the time and paint them exactly the way I wanted the cars. And I used to sit in, like I would say, in about 10 feet of snow outside, 15 below zero, and I used to dream about coming to California. And once I graduated from high school, I didn't go to college, didn't go to any business school. I just knew I wanted to come out here and do something car-related. I got in my car, I drove out here, I arrived here with $70, and I started the whole concept of what I wanted to do, and I started washing cars. I bought some equipment. I wanted to become the king of car washing. This, what you see today, is an evolution of just pursuing my customers' wants and needs. Just like McDonald's with shops all around the United States, I wanted to have car washes all around the United States. But if you would have told me 40 years ago that this is what we would be doing today, I wouldn't have believed you.
And that kid that was in New Hampshire in all of the snow, dreaming about the sunny skies of California with no snow in sight unless you go to the mountains, you were big on American muscle cars, like looking at the Corvettes and the Mustangs and those things as that was the ideal car for that time. You have some Corvettes here. You want to talk a little bit about some of the things you have?
Growing up in New England on the East Coast was very heavy into American muscle cars. West Coast is more European. East Coast is very, very steeped in muscle cars and all the different kinds of cars at that time. In the 50s, 60s, and 70s, I considered that was kind of the sweet spot of automobiles. I grew up right in the dead middle of all that, and all the specialty. That's when cars were handmade. That's when cars had personality. Today they're all made by a computer. These cars in those days, you could work on themselves. You could actually modify them and wrench on those cars and get it the way you wanted to have it. Back in East, the epitome of success was you drove a Cadillac, a Lincoln, or a Corvette. Here it's out on the West Coast is a little different. So what we have here today is we have one of the very first model Corvette. Corvette came out in 1953.
Right.
This is in 1955.
I feel like a kid in a candy store. Watching the veil be pulled off of it, the car covers off of it, and it is this beautiful tomato red color. There's still the grills on the lights. If you've ever seen pictures of this 55 Corvette, it really gives you this feeling of all of the films that you would have looked at during the late 50s, early 60s. Definitely Bobby Soxer culture, 100%. It has the white-walled wheels. It is such a moment that I'm having with this car myself right now, and I hope that this is translating through audio because you feel the history of this car. You can feel the way that it was maintained, but also there's a bit of love that I can tell that you've put into preserving, restoring, and making sure that the car is clean, detailed, and ready. Like you care for it as if it's your own, even though this belongs to someone else.
Yes. Our business model is kind of a little unique than other companies and other businesses. And AutoVault business description is our clients literally give us millions of dollars worth of their personal property. They entrust us with it, and then they pay us to take care of it for them. So that kind of model, I really don't know any other business that does that kind of thing. So we participate actively in the whole process of the car experience with our clients.
Right.
So they're able to enjoy the cars, take them out. When the car comes back, there's something wrong with it, we fix it for them, and they're ready for the next week to drive the car.
And it looks like someone is just left it here and is ready to come back. You have the mesh back driving gloves that are just sitting perfectly disheveled on the dash like somebody just took them off. The engine is beautifully restored and detailed. Like this is a show-ready car with a Corvette ball cap in the passenger seat. Like this is the epitome of the Sunday driver. This is the car that you lusted after, that you dreamed of, that you worked towards getting, and you get the opportunity to steward it while the owner is doing all of the other things that make their life make this make sense.
Now, this owner of this 1955 Corvette is 70-plus years old. This car came out when he was in high school, and this car was something that he always wanted when he was a kid but never could afford it. And now he's grown up. He pursued it. It took us. I mean, it took us 3 years to find this particular car like this that he wanted to buy. And he paid whatever it had to do to get the car.
There's a long history between Hollywood and cars, Rodeo Drive and Hollywood. How have you seen that merging of fashion, of celebrity, of Rodeo Drive, and the car culture around that from the inside of it as the person that is stewarding these private collections?
Well, Hollywood's kind of a unique profession where if you're successful, you make a lot of money at it. And part of the automobile world is the fantasy of the cars. And when you have money like that, you can buy some pretty crazy looking cars. When people ask me about the parallels between, say, Rodeo Drive and here, we're literally Rodeo Drive, but we're down below. I refer to it as the men and their sons come here and play with cars, and their wives and their daughters go upstairs and play in the stores.
Interesting.
So it's the same kind of idea, but it's with a different vehicle, so to speak. I have one kind of funny story. Is I have a customer that is from Europe that actually bought a $600,000 car. Didn't tell his wife. Brought it here and stored it here. It stayed here for 2 months until he figured out a way to tell his wife that he bought this car. So they flew in from Europe. He took her upstairs. They went to Harry Winston. He bought some rocks and ice at Harry Winston and came downstairs here and showed her the car that he bought a couple months ago.
That's hilarious. That is a very expensive way of buttering someone up to to approve a purchase. That's amazing. Do you have female clients that store their cars here that have expressed an interest in collecting cars and things of that nature? And how has that played out over the years that you've seen?
Yes, we do. We do have women, old and young. We have a pretty amazing story of a 1934 Rolls Royce around the corner. It's owned by a woman. She's 80 years old. The Rolls Royce itself is not very important. It's not very worth anything monetarily, but her grandfather bought it new in 1934.
Wow.
They're a wealthy family in Switzerland. They bought the car from England, had it transported to Switzerland. In their family assigns people to take care of the car. This car is a family member. And she has been assigned, when she was younger, to take care of this car. So the car lives here. She lives in California. The car lives here. We have some other women, some celebrities that actually drove a car out here when they were starting out in the music business or they're being an actress, and they drove the car out here, and their car now is in storage as an iconic remember of the beginnings of when they started.
Right.
And there's some other women that, this was the first car that they got when they became a lawyer. This is the first car that they got out of the divorce settlement, something that has some kind of emotional attachment to the cars, which can justify storing the car here.
Totally makes sense.
You're listening to Scot Prescott, founder of AutoVault, a car storage and restoration business hidden underneath Rodeo Drive. It's an incredible business founded by a guy who got his start offering a custom car detailing service, which he then took to the Rodeo collection. After touring the cars, we sat down in AutoVault's lounge, which has to be seen to be believed. I mean, it has wood-paneled walls, there's an actual chandelier, a beautiful blue suede sofa, and it feels like I'm inside one of the boutiques upstairs on the street. It totally matches the lifestyle of those people that will be interested in having their cars secured here. Scott told me more of his story.
I had to find a location. I started looking around Beverly Hills,
right?
For a location. And what I did, nobody did. There was no. I was like walking through a jungle, hacking my own trail. So across the street, I pitched to the property manager at Rodeo Collection, and he gave me a break. And he said, well, why don't you come on in here? It's going to be X amount of dollars a month. You're going to take this space here, and you can wash your cars and do your thing here. So that's how I got onto Rodeo Drive. When I got there, we were washing cars, and that was the only thing we did. And as the time evolved, we got into storage of cars, and then this restoration happened. Then what happened is I would have people come to me, and we were going to detail a car. But they said, hey, I'm going away for a wedding, on the East Coast. I'm going to be gone for a week. I said, can I leave my car here? Can you detail it? Well, one day I was sitting around. Our shop was jammed with cars, just sitting around. And that was the idea with, we have to charge for this. We got to charge for cars staying here. So the idea of storage started.
Got it.
So, and the problem was I had a detail shop, and at that time the company was known as a detail shop. But what the problem that I had was I started to peddle detail as a storage business, but people wouldn't at the time store the $200,000 car at a detail shop. No, I don't think I want to do that.
Right.
So the idea came, the evolution of AutoVault came, where I sat down for many nights thinking about names, words, and trick things and things that would work and all, because it was going to be an image. All I'm going to do is create a different image. So I created AutoVault, and I incorporated it and all. And then I started advertising as AutoVault, and people didn't seem to have much of a problem anymore storing cars. But yet I'm storing them at the car wash. So it's just a state of mind that changed. So that evolution on Rodeo, at the Rodeo Collection, we ran out of space. They didn't have any more space for us. It's a small garage. And we ended up migrating over here, and we built the business down here.
Well, you've had an incredible life, and you still have more energy than I do, and I've had coffee. And it's fantastic to see. You once said that you wanted to be the king of car washing. I think you've exceeded that. So what do you think you are now?
I would like to be considered probably maybe a custodian, maybe someone to help clients enjoy their cars to the maximum. I could be the custodian of car storage. Wanted to be part of the experience in having people evolve so that they can enjoy their cars at the maximum they can enjoy them with.
I look forward to seeing you during the concourse this year, and it's been a joy to be down here and share these stories. I hope that someone hears this and is equally inspired to follow their dreams the way that you were with yours.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it too. I love to talk about cars.
So that was Scot Prescott, owner and founder of AutoVault.
Wow, what an amazing story.
And AutoVault is an amazing place. It's kind of my idea of heaven. And 3 stories underneath Rodeo Drive. I knew the car world had some big personality, and Scott is definitely one of them. But what about you, Pari? You got to talk to someone who's making news in cars and fashion.
That's right, Jason. I spoke with Lindsay Brewer. She's an IndyCar racer and an influencer with more than 3 million followers on social media. She's one of the few women in racing, and she's also a businesswoman who is designing her own brand. I spoke with her about what it takes to beat the boys behind the wheel, how she is marketing herself to get sponsorship, and why it's perfectly fine, in fact essential, to bring glamour to the sport. She is from Colorado, and I asked her first what got her into racing.
I started racing when I was 11 years old. I went to a go-kart track at a birthday party and ended up falling in love with it. But I've always been super competitive. So yeah, I ended up being quicker than the adults and all the boys. And my dad bought me my kart, and it's kind of just started like that. Currently, I'm racing in Indy Pro 2000, which is Road to Indy. So IndyCar's the top level, and I'm 2 levels below that. So it's open wheel. So for people who don't know that, there's like closed wheel and open wheel. So the cockpit of the car is open, kind of like a Formula One car.
I see. Congratulations on your Indy Pro 2000 debut.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah, we heard that you finished 8th with a best lap time only 0.1054 seconds off the winner, Braden Eves' best. Tell us about this important race for you.
Yeah, so this race was super important for me because I did make a big jump up to Indy Pro 2000. Like, these are some of the best drivers in the country, if not the world, like up and coming drivers. So I knew the competition was going to be super tough. Yeah, so these guys, like, the competition level is crazy. So for me to be super competitive and in the mix and only a 10th off the leader's fastest time, like in race pace, it was definitely a good debut.
So you raced in a Tatis IP22 race car. Can you tell us about that car?
Yes. So basically it's a carbon fiber chassis, open wheel car. So it's 2 liters, like around 275 horsepower. It is super light. It's probably like 1,100 pounds, like without fuel in the driver. It's so light that the acceleration is crazy, and it has a lot of power. So it's super fun. We have the halo built into it, kind of like the F1 car as well. And yeah, it's 108-inch wheelbase. So it's a pretty good sized car. The tires are pretty big. We use Cooper tires, and they're fun cars to drive. They have pretty big wings on the front and back, so there's a lot of downforce, which makes it pretty physical for me because there's no power steering, lots of downforce. You're going so fast through the corners that you really have to be strong to maneuver that car around. So that's kind of been my struggle, but we're working towards getting stronger for every race.
Can you describe the feeling of a race for us?
Yeah, for sure.
Scary.
So I mean, I always have a bit of nerves going into the race, like especially even on the warm-up lap. You know, you're warming up your tires, your brakes. Everyone's getting just hyped up, and I always have a little bit of butterflies, but as soon as they wave the green flag, I feel like all nervousness like drops, and it's just go time. And you just gotta think, your mind just goes into almost like fight or flight mode. You just like are so focused on what the task is at hand, you kind of forget about everything else.
So you're able to like channel that energy.
Yeah, for sure. Like lots of adrenaline. You completely forget about everything. Like the adrenaline just takes over, and you just have like the task to complete and just try to do your best. But definitely a lot of fun though when you're out there and you're making some good passes and
it sounds like it.
Yeah.
So what kind of training regimen do you follow to prepare for the racing season, and how has that impacted your life and routine? I'm sure like just getting beauty sleep isn't enough. Like,
no.
How do you balance that?
Yeah. Like I said, this year's such a big step up physically. So I have a new personal trainer that I have nearby, and he's been helping me with my strength training because my endurance isn't the problem. It's again just like my arm strength compared to all the guys. So
it's like building up that muscle.
So I just build up the muscle. I also I do my simulator. I have a racing simulator at my house, so I'll go on that and practice. If I have like a track I've never been to, I'll go on that and like drive it a bunch of times, a bunch of laps.
Oh, that's fascinating. So you can actually kind of start to envision
the track. Yes, exactly.
And how do you balance the training with like for example, your social media commitments?
When I wasn't racing in college, I had to take a break. I didn't think I mentioned that, but I took a break for 4 years to get my degree in business because I wasn't able to find sponsorship. And, my parents really wanted me to get a degree, and I was happy about that. But I kind of positioned myself more as a social media influencer. It was great, but I felt like people didn't really see the actual side of me as a race car driver. So now I focus more on just my training and racing, and I try to get content and doing those things instead of just going out and trying to take photos with outfits. And I do enjoy fashion, so I love designing my suits and kind of creating my content around that as well. Like my first suit was like a chevron rainbow vibe, kind of like Aviator Nation vibe.
So is the suit designed around like the sponsor that you're working with?
Yeah, so this current sponsor, my title is Mastermind, and their colors are blue. So I designed like the suit with the company Sparco. We designed like what it looks like and all the lines and stuff like that. And yeah.
So is that like a performance wear company?
Yeah, Sparco is like the suit I use. It's a company of performance wear for racing. And they do all my race gear, which is nice. And I try to take inspiration from like 80s ski suits, like fashion like that.
Oh, I can
really
see that
fun.
for you. That aesthetic is nice for you.
Yeah.
And then is that, just out of curiosity, is that suit fireproof too?
Yes, that's like basically why it has to be fireproof.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's discuss social media a bit. Sharp self-image and presentation is inherently a part of the sport of race car driving, and you've taken that to a very high level. You were recently described as the 24-year-old auto racing driver and content creator with over 3 million followers on social media. How are the two connected?
I think they're connected just because, with racing, it's so hard to find sponsorship, and it's all about like, when you're a driver, you yourself are a product for the brands, and it's kind of crazy that it's that way. Like you yourself, you're almost like a billboard to represent your sponsors, and you have to represent them correctly. And I think social media plays a big role for me because you're able to promote your sponsors, and you're able to add that value to them. So for me, I always like to integrate it because I also love just showing everyone like what I'm doing and connecting with my fans. And I think they enjoy seeing my journey from going from just social media influencer who was out of a seat in racing and finally building back up to where I am now, and watching my journey. And
yeah, I mean, just from looking at your social media and like some of the videos that you've done, it all seems very second nature for you. Mm-hmm. Do you manage your brand yourself, and how much time relative to racing do you spend on it?
I do my own social media. I do have a photographer and videographer that help me create the content, but I do manage it all myself. I do my own posting, everything like that. And it's pretty second nature because I do enjoy doing social media. I think it's a lot of fun. And sometimes it does get tricky though, like when I'm at the race or at the track and I'm trying to like either take photos or film content and stuff like that. But I also have to be serious and really focus on what I'm doing at the track. So that sometimes can get in the way, and it gets a little tricky there because I do need to focus like on my data, my video, like trying to get better in the lap and be, focused at the track.
Your images on Instagram are very put together with no real images of you looking disheveled after a race, but that can be sexy too, no? Why not show the more real side of racing?
Honestly, I do think I should show a little bit more of the raw, authentic me, sweaty after a race. I just think my photographer doesn't really take a lot of photos during that. Like, I think that we take a lot of photos, like I said, before we go out and before I like have to focus on driving. But that is a great recommendation. I should show more authentic, like after the race photos, and I think that's something I should incorporate more of. So I'll be doing that at my next race. Keep your eye out for that sweaty photo after.
We'll be watching for it. So you're one of the few women in car racing. What would you say to others who'd like to try?
I would say just go for it. I think it's intimidating in any business that's male or industry that's male dominated. I think it's just obviously there's going to be that bit of, you just don't really know if you want to get into that and you're kind of nervous about it. But I definitely think that you should just go for it. And I personally have tried to set up initiatives to help younger women get into racing. Like I'll hold all female track days once every few months to get all the girls together and try to provide them more track time. And there's a bit of roadblocks in the way, you know, being in open wheel, especially being less physically inept to drive the cars, but you can, if you want it bad enough, you can make it work and train and work hard.
And what message does your highly curated, glamorous brand image send to other women, do you think?
I mean, I think in racing, like, I think women are put into a box, and I think, like, if you're a female racer, you can't be, like, glamorous and sexy too. Like, a lot of the times I've talked to other women in racing, and I've asked them advice, you know, when I was growing up, and a certain woman told me, she was like, if you want to be taken seriously in racing, you need to stop posting photos at the beach in like a bikini. You need to stop like posting stuff like that. You need to be a serious racer. And, you know, I appreciate her saying that, but at the same time, like, if you're a true feminist, you should be allowed to be fun and sexy and be yourself and love fashion. I don't want to just be put into a box as just a race car driver. I want to also be able to be myself and be feminine and girly and sexy if I want to be that. So I think for me, that's kind of, I guess, a message that is portrayed on my social media. Yeah, I race and yeah, I enjoy that, but I also can have a full face of makeup and do my hair and look glamorous, because that's what I like to do too. You know, it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the self-presentation is like gives you confidence and gives you strength going into whatever it is that you do, why can't that go straight into race car driving?
Yeah, exactly. My dad would always say, Lindsay, this isn't a fashion show, this is the racetrack. And I'm like, okay, but I want to look good and feel
You're like,
good
well,
too,
maybe it is.
Maybe it is a fashion show and the racetrack.
Do you feel as a woman that you have skills for this sport that a man does not have, and vice versa? Or is it an equal playing ground?
I mean, I think it would be naive to say that men and women are completely equal, because we're not. Like, biologically, you know, we're just not equal. And I think the men obviously have a physical advantage. You know, racing is one of the only sports where we can compete against each other, and it's doable. Like, it's not like basketball or any other football, any other sport where you pretty much can't compete against a man on a physical playing field.
Right.
But so they do have the physical advantage for sure. But I do think women have an advantage when it comes to keeping calm in the car, keeping collected. You know, I find that women tend to finish more races than men. Like, men will make that super aggressive move and then crash a lot of the times. You know, sometimes they'll make it, you know, sometimes they'll make the move stick when they need to, like a super aggressive pass or this and that. And that doesn't mean I'm not aggressive and women aren't aggressive, because I definitely am. And I know a lot of women who are, but I think in general, women are a bit more level headed and they're able to think more clearly and they're able to finish the race more often than not, you know.
That makes sense. Are you an automobile enthusiast as well as a racer? And if so, what is your favorite car?
I am. So I don't claim to be an automotive expert, but I do enjoy supercars. My dream cars are McLaren P1 or a LaFerrari. I just think they're amazing. But I currently have an Audi R8, that convertible, which I absolutely love.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I definitely do enjoy cars.
So on Rodeo Drive, we're excited about the upcoming Rodeo Drive Concours Elegance, Beverly Hills Father's Day car show.
Yeah.
40,000 or so spectators are anticipated. Wow. Why do you think this type of presentation and tour of the finest and most exotic automobiles in the world is such a draw on Rodeo Drive?
I think it's such a draw because like we've talked about, I think fashion and cars really do coincide, and it's all about lifestyle, and everyone, you know, it's this luxury lifestyle, and people love to dress up and have nice fashion, and they do nice cars. And I think it all plays into this sort of lifestyle that everyone either has once or, you know, wants to achieve.
Yeah, it's almost like this total image.
Yes, exactly.
Do you have any role models combining image and sport?
I do think Lewis Hamilton does a great job where he is such a phenomenal race car driver, you know, 7-time world champion. He's such a great driver, but he also has his own personality, and he's into fashion, and he's able to step away from the track and do other things outside of it. Like when he attended the Met Gala, and when he, you know, designs his own fashion lines, or he's in the studio, singing and doing all types of music. And I think like that's a really great example of, you're not just a race car driver, you're, who you are, and you have other interests outside of it. You can like combine those into like one image, I guess.
So what's next? How can we follow you on your journey, and will we be able to keep up with you?
Yeah, I guess what's next is I'm actually coming out with my own clothing line. It's more merchandise, but I don't like to say merch because it's not quite, it's a little bit more elevated than that. And it's going to be like automotive related, and I'm super excited to launch that. Obviously have some races coming up. I'm going to be driving at Road America, and then I'm going to be driving in Montreal for a support race of the F1 race. So I'm super excited for that.
Perfect. And then are you allowed to reveal any more about your fashion or your merchandise?
Yeah, it's going to just be t-shirts, sweatshirts, sweatpants. Like we're going to stick to stuff like that first and then see how that goes. And then I'd like maybe later on to get more into cut and sew, stuff like that, jackets, race car jackets that are tailored. It's going to be unisex, because I think racing plays such a big part into fashion, especially nowadays with like all, the collections coming out that are inspired by racing, and obviously race car jackets, shoes that Puma's done, like stuff like that. I think it really plays a big role into fashion. So I'm excited to like incorporate my design, not only from my race suits, but now into actual fashion.
Yeah, well, thank you so much
for
speaking with us. I feel like I learned a lot today about the sport and more about you too. So I appreciate you sharing and being so open and candid with us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you again for having me.
That was Lindsay Brewer. I'm Pari Ehsan.
And I'm Jason E.C. Wright. Rodeo Drive, the podcast, is presented by the Rodeo Drive Committee with the support of the City of Beverly Hills. To Rodeo Drive, the Heyman family, Beverly Wilshire, a Four Seasons Hotel, the Beverly Hills Conference and Visitors Bureau, and MCM.
Rodeo Drive, the podcast, is written by Francis Anderton, with editing and videography by Hans Fjellstead. Brian Banks composed the theme music. Grace Fu is the production assistant. The executive producer is Lynn Winter.
Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Join us on Instagram at Rodeo Drive. See you on the street.